draft. God dang it.
So, Toronto eSports versus Team Finesse game number 2. And we're going to see what they are going to be popping out here with. Team Finesse is going to be banning out the giggity. Go get him Grux.
Which is, smart call. Get rid of Grux.
I agree. So smart.
I like it.
So smart.
That means Toronto eSports is probably, most likely, definitely going to ban out Decker.
You're right. That's exactly what happened. That's exactly what happened. That makes sense. Decker is the premier support, and in my humble opinion, still will be when FaZe comes into play, but that's just my opinion. And first pick, Revenant. Revenant was the engine behind the stomp train of Team Finesse last game, and they are going to get their hands on that as soon as possible. It'll be revealed if that's going to be more of a solo carry Revenant with Strafe on that, and maybe a little bit more conventional mid lane or off lane sort of draft coming out from them. If I'm Toronto eSports, I'm saying we don't want to allow that to happen again. Let's pick up Twin Blast right now.
But Shane, they decided to pick up Revenant and Bellica.
Oh, they picked up Revenant?
Severog and Bellica. I looked at Revenant. Wow. They picked up Severog and Bellica. So they don't pick up the Twin Blast. I'm surprised they didn't pick up the Moragesh for Toronto eSports. Deny them
or the Twin Blast
early game heroes. Or the Twin Blast. Just deny them those early game heroes. They decided not to. They have themselves a strong jungler, though. They actually have a front line with this Severog pickup.
Yeah.
So that's already a better start, Shane.
Right. The question I'm asking is that going to be a support Bellica or is that going to be a mid Bellica? Mikey on Bellica is disgustingly good. So I won't be surprised if that's a mid Bellica. But at the same time, other very, very strong mid laners are available. We saw Moragesh last game. And Howitzer still very, very viable. Gadget still very, very viable. And other heroes that are a little bit stronger than they were before due to not necessarily direct changes inside of the patch, but more so because of cards, specifically talking about Tainted Magic. And that's what we saw last game, is Faye and Gideon. I think are two heroes that, with Tainted Magic in their deck, and Moragesh as well, all of a sudden those heroes are just significantly stronger strictly because of that card. So I wouldn't be surprised to see those heroes a little bit more often. There are the two picks coming out here, Narbash and Twin Blast. So it's gonna be the same thing, Notch, the Revenant and the Twin Blast, that mid-game ability-based carry coming out from this team once again. Yeah,
Toronto's gonna pick up Sparrow and Howitzer. So we are gonna see.
There we go.
Looks like we may see. Well, there's still an option here. We could see Steel support.
That's true.
There's still an option. We could also see Richter as well. So there's a lot of places Spell could be played. I'm just gonna say it. Team Finesse is gonna pick up Moragesh because why would you not? It worked so well the last time. Toronto eSports has not banned it, and that's exactly who they pick up. They pick up Moragesh, and they also pick up Kwong. So we do have Kwong jungler. They still have an initiation with Kwong. It's not going to be as big a front line as Toronto eSports has. Opposed to, with that Severog pick over there. But again, they've got this early game. And Shane.
There it is, here. Baby. There's your
Shane,
boy.
He's here.
That's
here.
Your boy.
Steel
we were speculating about this. So let's talk about Steel and what his strengths are now with this new patch. He does the exact same thing he did before. That's be a big initiator relying on the shield slam. Getting big value shield slams, whether it's isolating an important target like one of the two carries, Revenant and Twin Blast, or it's getting, let's say there's a objective-based fight under a tower over at the Raptors where people are clumped up and punishing groups of people. So that's what this hero is still going to do. That ablative armor gives him completely a way to pretty much just negate rather, all of the ability damage coming out from Team Finesse. They really don't, other than obliterate, they really don't have a way to get rid of that ablative armor very, very quickly. Moragesh has Hive to do that, but obviously that's not always necessarily the most consistent thing in the world. Crash Bang Boom does have small instances of damage over high frequencies, because that could be a well, but again, that's reliant on him getting into the back line and using that ultimate. I like the Steel pick here. They don't have someone to just immediately delete those ablative armor stacks and isolate him into a bad position. He's going to be able to completely tank up Kwong initiation, completely tank Thunks, And we're going to see how he's going to do, assuming this is offlaner. I'm sorry, assuming that he's support. That makes the most sense here for Steel support, mid Bellica.
Be certified on Steel, brother.
Okay, I'm sorry, mid Howitzer, and then a support Bellica. I think that makes the most sense going into this. So I'm just about to adjust my game replay here. And my man,
I'm so ready.
So ready to do this. 5 seconds, chat. Game number 2. We're going to get this underway as soon as we possibly can. And we're going to introduce these teams.
I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it.
You want to do it first? You're doing it first.
I'm so excited.
Okay,
I'm just going to talk. Be certified.
Ooh.
It's the return, ladies and gentlemen. It's the return of Steel. We haven't seen Steel in so long. Be certified if you're playing offlane Steel. We've got Blood Mortis in the jungle. Look at those sexy master skins on Sevarog. Yo, I'm Mikey. Mikey's going to be playing mid lane Howitzer. We've got Nymph back on Sparrow. She's got that sexy rogue skin. Look at that cloak.
So good.
God dang. And in the mid lane, because we like butchering his name, because it triggers you, chat, Shadon is going to be... not in the mid lane, I'm sorry. The support is Shadon's going to be playing Bellica. Shane.
Hey.
Bellica support.
Hello.
Interesting. We're going to talk about it in a minute. Why don't you introduce Finesse?
Suki, you know him, you love him. On Revenant. Strafe on Twin Blast. I just realized both of them have a dash next to their name. Chill Phil on Kwang. Proficiency on Morgesh. And Lucer on the support Narbash. Has that Circlet of Health. Another card that was changed. Once you fill that out, I'm imagining with 1 point manas, because that's the only thing you can fill it out with. They get that global, essentially a global healer token. So that really complements a lane phase-oriented sort of strategy in the first 5 to 10 minutes, and also really helps out your offlaner who already has a healer token and can have a little bit better sustain than they already had.
So, Shane, let's take a look at the setup of Shadon and Nymph over here. We've got Shadon, rockin' Bellica with that support. Are we going to see him go for his knockup first? Or are we going to see possibly a Void Drone first? I mean, of course you're going to pick up the Q. That's a silly question. But are we going to see him go with the Void Drone to try and deal with the ability damage that Suki puts out? Every time he casts an ability, you're going to take that extra damage from Drone. What do you think the build order is going to be here? How do you think they're going to be able to deal with Suki, again, who's on Revenant and in that off lane?
I think the Void Drone at level 1 is enough to drain the mana of Revenant enough to where he can't get his full combination off. Especially when they start making a purposeful push down this lane. So I think we're still going to see mostly emphasis onto the Void Bomb itself, just because it enables Bellica her kill potential, even with a little bit less farm that she would get out of that mid lane. It's still, Void Bomb does a significant amount of damage in the early stages of the game. Also helps out their wave clear as well. We saw that in game number 1, Team Finesse made very concerted tier 1 tower pushes. They picked up all the tier 1 towers very, very early on. And complementing that wave clear, I think is very, very important. And I think that's why we're going to see emphasis on the Void Bomb as opposed to the Void Drone itself. Level 1 Void Drone is pretty much just a straight value point. The amount of...
Hold on, Shane, I don't want to interrupt you.
Oh, you just did, though.
No, but look at Blood Mortis. He's invisible. Look at him. If they can pick up proficiency.
Gets to subjugate. Swinging the hammer. An R2000 rocket should be enough. Might not even need it.
The bounce off Chill Phil's head.
There you go. Blood Mortis picks up that first blood already. Toronto eSports in a much better spot as long as Blood Mortis can get away. Barely able to. Down to single-digit HP right there. There is a Earthshatter on a Chill Phil. No turnaround potential. Howitzer not quite doing a significant amount of damage with those R2000 rockets. Level 6 and level 8 is when those rockets start chunking down your HP. It's a little bit too early for that to happen. But yeah, Toronto, they get first blood this game, and that's one way to start out. That is how you bounce back from the sort of game that they experienced in the prior one.
Yep. Be Certified barely missed Bull Rush there. If he would have hit the Bull Rush onto Chill Phil, they would have picked up the kill onto Kwang in the mid as well. So already a better start. I mean, we got to see though. We got to watch Suki in the last game. They just let him free farm.
Here we go. This is what happen. This is what we want to see. Toronto eSports. The two things we said early on. What Toronto eSports need to do is just don't lay down during the late stage of the game and allow this Revenant to just get free farm. Obviously, don't let him get kills, but don't let him get free farm. They're going to pick up this tower very early on, and don't forget, when you are on the Dawn side of the map, that means your safe lane, you want to push down this very, very quickly, so that way prior to 10 minutes, you can swap, put your carry and support over on the other side of the map into your off lane, and that way they're much closer proximity to that of the Raptors here, which will be spawning here in about 5 minutes.
So they're going to pick that up. They're going to continue to farm this up a little bit. Be Certified is just now getting back to lane to defend this tower here. Is he going to be able to hold this tower against Louis and Strafe, though, with the minion wave here? I haven't seen a lot of off-lane steal in competitive play. I've seen it a few times, but how does he fare early game? I mean, you feel he doesn't do a ton of
specifically in the off lane, the biggest weakness that he has is his lack of wave clear.
Yeah.
Compared to like a Greystone or Feng Miao or Shimby or Kwong or the what heroes we saw prior to this patch in the off lane. That's the biggest thing that you can definitely exploit out of it. With that being said, I don't think that Lucera and Strafe are intentionally actively pushing down this tower like what we saw Toronto do, because that they are on the Dusk side. They want to be in that lane. They don't necessarily want to be pushing down that lane all the time because it will leave them very, very susceptible, because that left side of the map is the biggest, most highly contended area of the map for 10 minutes all the way on to about 30 minutes. So
right.
It's just due to the map asymmetry going on right there with the objectives is why we see distinctly two different styles in each safe lane respectively.
Mikey doing a good job bullying proficiency in the mid lane here. I feel like this is a better matchup. Mikey on Howitzer, which a hero he's a little bit more. I think his best hero from what we've seen has definitely been his Howitzer gameplay.
Agreed.
So he's on a hero that, in my opinion, he's a little bit more comfortable on, and he's just had a better time so far bullying this lane. He's got the better lane clear because Morrigesh really doesn't have the lane clear.
Yeah,
it's all about that ability to not isolate a target, but pick a target and then mark Hive ultimate and blow them up. So Mikey does have this lane advantage. We're seeing a little bit more movement out of Cert here. We saw him rotate early to pick up that kill. We do see Blood Mortius. He is rotating into the enemy jungle. Is he going for another kill here? I don't think so. He was going to scope it out, and then Kwong shows up, and he's like, yeah, we're leaving. Bye.
The thing about Steel is generally in the off lane, specifically players like Be Certified and Reborn, aka Team Reborn.net, is that they play more farm, split push, space create heroes. Feng Miao, Greystone, heroes like that. Steel, because of his lack of wave clear, Steel is pretty much a complete converse to that of Greystone, both in his kit and as well as the role they play in that match. Greystone is I'm just going to create space and be a nuisance the entire game and push in your lane, and then after the fact show up to a team fight and swing down my sword and maybe get some some kills. Steel isn't going to be split pushing that much, maybe set a wave and back. But he wants to be rotating much more. He wants to be more proactive. He wants to be showing up for these fights. He is a team fight initiator. He punishes mispositions better than almost any other hero in the game, up there with Faye. And I think if Cert plays a more static, farm-based Steel, I really don't think you're playing Steel to the best of his strengths. I highly doubt he's going to be doing that, though. I expect to come 10 minutes with those Raptors. Certified's going to be going over there, warding, denying vision, and ultimately looking for that money ultimate.
Sugi is taking a 1v2 right now. They try to get aggressive there, but he's, of course, the strength of Obliterate dealt about 50% damage onto Bellica, and she just backs off. Good rotation for Blood Mortius. Are they going to be able to pick up this kill?
Blood Mortius is right behind. As long as Shadon's able to live, they're going to be able to turn around and get this kill. Is it enough damage? Not going to happen, actually. I think what happened there is Suki used the Obliterate right as the Reckoning was ended, and the Obliterate actually did not damage Shadon. So we talked about how the Reckoning is able to disable abilities that are about to channel onto him. Well, it also is the other way around. Obliterate isn't going to channel through the Reckoning, through the Netherrealm into the real world. And I think because of that, Shadon was actually able to get away. So due to those, again, the mechanics of Reckoning have quite a few intricacies that aren't really very well laid out by the display. But that is one of them actually working to the favor of Toronto eSports this time around.
River buffs spawned, gold buffs picked up for both of these teams here. This is a much different game than what we saw, Shane. I mean, at this point, last game, there was 8 kills. Right now, we're looking at a total of, there's 3. So much. I'm sorry. There's two. There's two.
There you go. We did
it. So much different game than we're seeing.
Need some help from Mr. Rogers.
Much different game out of Toronto eSports, and a much different game coming from Finesse as well. They were way more aggressive last game, and I'm going to say that had something to do with their comp.
It was the draft, man. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, they had the ability to be aggressive early. Now they really don't. Their main engage is going to be chill Phil, and so they don't have that big front line. They don't have those big engagement tools. That's why we're not seeing that aggro out of Finesse.
Did Strafe pick up a blink of any kind last game? I know Suki did. I believe they both got a blink shot. They both got a blink shot. So if I'm certified on Steel, blink shot's a very long cooldown. You're gonna be able to get some money ultimates off.
Trouble here. He's very low. Is he marked? He is marked. And Proficiency is going to pick up that kill. That is terrifying. I'm going to live. Oh, frick. And then a bug monster comes out, stabs you in the face, and you die. And Proficiency picks up a kill.
Get a stasis gem, bro.
Support there. Get a stasis gem, bro. It is universal and only costs 5.
Yep, and gives you power. But it is a support. That's going to happen. Knockup Mine getting Lucer out of there. And they are going to be defending this Tier 1 tower push. This is the team fight action much different from game number 1, but game number 2, as far as objective base goes, is definitely similar for Team Finesse here, as they immediately rotate over to mid lane. But Toronto, much more quicker this time to rotate, defend, as well as they're not dying underneath their towers. But the biggest tool that Toronto has this game to deal with the double mid-game carry that Team Finesse has now done 2 games in a row here is Steel. Is be certified on this Steel. They're going to have blink, assuming they pick up blink shots instead of blink charms. They're only going to be able to get out of those once every, I believe it's almost a 5-minute cooldown, assuming they don't get a kill afterwards, which if you're using it to get away from a Steel ultimate is very unlikely. So there's going to be massive periods of time where they do not have their blinks up, Strafe and Suki, and certified is just going to be looking to get, when you're in this level of play, yes, it's great if you can hit many people with your ultimate, but when we saw Steel prior, before he was before his nerf and then ultimate change this patch, most of the time, very, very liberal application of the shield slams, isolating one target and just securing a kill is what we're going to see, and I expect that to be the case here, whether it's Twin Blast or whether it's Suki.
Does look like they're trying to get aggressive on the certified here. He's just buddy hopping away. He saw the rotation. He backed up. Of course, Louis did miss that thump, which allowed certified to just back off a little bit safely and cleanly here. 12 minutes into the game, we've got quenching scales coming online. We've got 1, 2, 3. We've got 2 heroes on the side of Toronto with Empyrean Masks. Chill Phil Shade picked up Radiant Mantle. We haven't seen this card in a very, very long time.
This is another card that, well, didn't have a big sweeping change. They basically just increased the level multiplier on it. I believe it went from 1 to 1.5 on the multiplier there.
The damage went from 10 to 12, and the multiplier went from 1 to 1.5.
So there you go. Obviously helps with wave clear as well, and also clearing out camps in the jungle. Again, the camps are a little bit more difficult to take down, and it's going to just help him make up for weaknesses that Kwong has. He has decent wave clear, but obviously, again, and also gives him survivability as well. If you want to, he can build more health into that. He already has the Guardian's Ward with 120 health there. And there's so much going on in this patch, we have to mention it. The scaling of health and armor has gone up a little bit, but health and armor much more valuable. Time to kill has gone up just the tiniest bit amount.
Just a hair.
But because of that, Radiant Mantle could be the difference maker between getting a kill and not getting a kill. Looking for Mikey. There's the tether. He is going to get knocked underneath the tower. He has that on-demand armor from the kit, so he's going to be able to get away, tank that up just fine. The R2000 rocket gets him pretty low, but Lord Mortius was not expecting the Lucer flank. Immediately starts dropping the base. There was no ability for him to get away. He used it aggressively to try to finish off the kill onto Chill Phil. And now this mid lane is subject to a mid lane push. There is no siege minion, but both of the carries are here. Who needs a siege minion? We got a Twin Blast and a Revenant. 14 minutes, immediately sweeping over to the Raptors. Nimp pushing hard right. I think right now they're sacrificing these Raptors. Oh, actually, no, they're not going for the Raptors. Nimp's going to continue to push, but hot on the trail is Suki, and Nimp may be in some trouble here, Josh.
Yeah, he doesn't see the rotation. He doesn't have any wards down.
They're trying to do it out. There's the obliterate, but the moment he comes out of this, Chill Phil's going to be waiting. Suki picks up the kill. Obviously, some assistance from Chill Phil is always
I'll
welcomed.
take your tether, bro. I'll
take your tether, bro. But of course, Suki was going to win that fight 1v1 all day, any day. A little overzealous of pushing on to Nimp. I'm surprised someone on his team didn't order him to back up, especially because he didn't have any wards zoning out the area for teams to flank him. And just Nimp, just again a little bit overzealous, and Suki able to capitalize.
Does Nimp have? He does have a ward in his deck. Just so you guys can see, even the competitive players using Chill Phil here, getting aggressive. Our Bloodborne is getting aggressive on Chill Phil. The tether is going to miss. But yeah, no vision down, and just being overextended like that. Quick kill over on the side of Finesse there. Raptors are up. We're 15 minutes into the game. Raptors have not been taken yet. They are making their way there, but they have to be careful. We saw this the last time where...
Yep. Look for Certified. Look for a shield slam. They're clumped up a little bit. The tether landed. Bull rush forward. Subjugate on a Lucer. The one-man shield slam just used to try to get this kill, but are they going to be able to follow up? Certified goes in and immediately gets taken out. By the time there's any follow-up, and now the turnaround, Lucer using the Crash Bang Boom, simply trying to keep Mikey and Shadon from getting away, allow his team to come back and reinforce and try to get 2 more kills. Tether landing on Shadon, quenching scales used, trying to keep himself alive. The pop, pop, pop. Strafe again, picking up the kill on the Swim Blast. 3 go down. The shield slam used just on a Narbash. I'm not sure. I mean, I mentioned how it's used mostly to isolate priority targets. Narbash is not a priority target there, and they didn't even pick up the kill.
They got the kill on the Shadon pretty quickly. They're pushing down this mid-wave minion wave here. Are they going to be able to take this inhibitor? I mean, they've got the carries to do it. Both here, I mean, they're just chunking this. It does look like this inhibitor, 16 minutes into the game, it does look like this inhibitor is going to fall. Be Certified came in. He did land that shield slam onto Louis. The tether came out from Chill Phil. He then went in and ulted and just decimated Certified. Rotated. He picked up a second kill, and then landing those tethers, allowing his team to pick up the kills, pushing down 2 towers in 2 minutes. Are they going for Orb Prime? No, they're just warding Orb Prime. That's like, what a play here. Just warding Orb Prime. They're backing off now. I mean, Finesse looks so strong, Shane. Even with the front line and the engage that Toronto has, Finesse is just, they're punishing them. They're punishing those engagements. 6 kills happened very quickly. Louis now has Honor of the Pure online, plus quenching scales. Just Finesse looks strong, man. They look really strong.
You pretty much have the it's a merge of Rat Pack into 2 of the more better players who have for a while gone a little bit just low key inside of the competitive scene. Chill Phil and Suki. Suki was obviously at a time on Reborn and was was winning games left and right on Reborn. Built a team of his own for a little bit. That didn't really work out too well, but judging by the performance thus far, it's still too early to say that they're all of a sudden sort of sweeping into the scene and are a big contender. But judging by the performance thus far, I think their strengths individually speak for themselves. But anytime you have a team of individually talented players, it's not always necessarily true that you get a good team synergy. And so far, they do have that team synergy. Strafe tanked out the shield slam, forced to use the blink shot, 4-minute cooldown there, but he does keep himself alive, and I think that's totally worth it at this stage. We do see another engagement here. Mikey's going to send to the skies, lay down the damage, and also zone means of egress, as Chill Phil is just in the thick of it there. They both get taken out around the same time, and Nimp does get the kill. Much needed card experience over to the carry, but unfortunately that kill just forced Sparrow into a very awkward position. And there we go. You hear it. That big monster, the Voodoo Doctor. Oh, baby, a triple. And 4 go down at the cost of 1. Only the jungler, Chill Phil. Toronto eSports were stabilizing, looking good. But mid lane, are they looking to end this game already? This would be a very early GG, and they're going to go for it. Don't forget the core is much more difficult to take down. Only Be Certified to here. 10 to 15 seconds, 20 seconds for the Sparrow. They have the minions. They have the super minion. They have the siege minion as well. Down to 50%. I think Certified's going to try to... Nope, it's not going to be enough. Team Finesse. What a statement from this team right here, Notch. I was not expecting either of these games to go the way that they did, but man, did they look good in that game. Holy crap.
What the frick just happened?
Shout out to Chris.
It's 20 minutes into the game.
19 minutes and 9 seconds to be exact.
Well, we just saw them go in, and Finesse looked insanely strong. I thought for sure Toronto eSports, they started out much better.
Ooh.
Toronto eSports picked up the early game kills, but just the coordination and the amount of damage coming out of the side of Finesse could not be dealt with for Toronto eSports. And Toronto eSports takes it 2-0 in an hour. Shane, in an hour. They're like, you know what? The first game went a little bit too long. Let's go ahead and finish this one in 20 minutes so we can go get a snack. And that's exactly what they did. Really impressed with Finesse right there. Really impressed.
Yeah, I'm a little bit flabbergasted, to be perfectly honest. When I went into this game saying this is going to be a good series, Toronto's going to come out, but I think Team Finesse, just looking at the names, looked really good. But I think these guys clearly they meld very, very well. Teams have only had not even a week to try to scrim on this patch. That may be something. Maybe Toronto didn't have a lot of time to adapt to this new patch. Anytime you have a big sweeping patch like this with this many changes, it always holds true, whatever your MOBA of choice is, that the teams who are unable to, there's always going to be teams that aren't able to adapt within a short amount of time. Whether that's just because that's maybe one of their weaknesses as a team, or maybe it's just because they didn't have the time allocated on their schedule to do so. Whatever the case may be, Toronto eSports, we expected more out of them, but I think the big story here is we got caught off guard by how well Team Finesse actually played.
Yeah, you got to give up Team Finesse there. I'm going to look at this multiple ways. I'm going to look at Toronto eSports as established. They've been here for a very long time. They play really well. I feel like they could have banned, take Suki, take Revenant away, take Moragesh away, get rid of some of that early game strength that Finesse used in game number 1. They allowed them to basically do the exact same draft. They pick up Revenant, they pick up Moragesh, they pick up Twin Blast. Deny them Twin Blast by taking Twin Blast. I feel like Toronto eSports definitely could have draft different. But after watching that gameplay, the way Finesse came out, they were aggressive. They were locking down targets and just blowing them up. If a tether landed, all focus was on that target. That target's dead. They just did a really good job picking targets, getting kills, and pushing objectives. That power of double carry, man. It's like wow. Ogoro's Rising 1 with the double carry play. Like we haven't seen this in such a long time.
An old name of the competitive scene that some of you may recognize is Taurino. He was a pretty high-level player about this time last year. He has been absent from the scene. He actually played in his first tournament, I think, since like this time last year. And he was mid Murdoch. I messaged him. I was watching the game in the group stage before the broadcast went live, and I messaged Taurino. I'm like, bro, it's not 2016. I'm like, mid Murdoch's not a thing anymore. But very clearly the double carry is, but I think that double carry, I don't know if you can do that with any other 2 carries other than Twin Blast and Revenant, to be honest. Maybe Grimmix, but Grimmix is just not in a good state right now. I was going to say, Ramriddles does. At least used to. But different meta, different patch, different build, different time. But I think that strategy of double carry specifically being centric around Revenant and Twin Blast is very easy to just completely negate by banning or picking one of those 2 heroes.
Right. Well, Shane, great games coming out of Finesse. They're going to be moving on Toronto eSports. Sorry, guys. We'll see you the next time. We're going to be
qualifiers. I hope
we're going to be jumping into Oxygen versus Arctic Wolves in just a minute. Thank you guys for watching. If you want to support these teams, ! Matcherino in the chat. Go over there, donate a couple bucks because you want to, and the teams would love it, and so would we. Thank you guys as always for supporting Paragon and the competitive league. We'll take a quick break, and we'll be jumping in with again Oxygen versus Arctic Wolves. Oxygen.